Hello fellow leggers, you're joining us in Birmingham at the Birmingham Rep for a press night.
And a world premiere of a brand new musical directed by the one and only Luke Sheppard and set to the music of somebody, I would say, who is a British legend, an icon, Sir Tom Jones.
So stick around fellow leggers for this musical, which is What's New Pussycat? Almost forgot to say what it was
I
then.
know, yeah, we just sort of assumed that you would know. Why wouldn't you know? You're a fellow legger. So anyway, stick around
to hear all of our thoughts.
And stay till the end to find out how many stars.
Whether it's break a leg
or leg it.
So I think we kind of know what we're doing. We're in the foyer. We're kind of being really quick.
Rushed. Do you know what?
It starts
I
any
bet
moment
Tom's
now.
in the house and he's like, if I'm not in bed by 10 p.m, I am gonna slate this musical. I promise you. Anyway, what do you need to know about it? So, it's a brand new musical with a book by Joe DiPietro. He's best known for writing Memphis, which we absolutely loved. We love that musical. And has direction by the legendary Luke Sheppard, who's currently tearing up the West End with the extraordinary and Juliet.
We've loved all of his work pretty
Adrian
much for a long time.
Millennials at the Turbine recently.
Absolutely.
He is a genius of the form. It's the story of What's New Pussycat has some parallels with Anne Juliet in so much as where Anne Juliet takes inspiration from one classic text and sets it around some pop bangers, What's New Pussycat takes inspiration from the 1749 Henry Fielding novel, The History of Tom Jones, sets it in the heart of London's swinging 60s scene, and uses the music of, you've guessed it, Tom Jones to tell unconventional but not unusual love story.
Okay.
Do you see what I did there?
You did there.
Choreography by Dame Arlene Phillips.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's 2 hours and 20 minutes, including interval, and it's shaping up to be somewhat of a sex bomb of a production, with the sexy Dominic Anderson, who we saw in Heathers at the Haymarket as Tom Jones, and Bronte Barbie, who we last saw in Beautiful on the UK tour, playing Mary. So let's head inside. There's an interval, so stick around to find out our 30-second interval breakdown thoughts.
And to the end, hear all of our final thoughts and how many stars. Fellow leggers, we've come to the interval of What's New Pussycat, which means it's time for the break a leggers.
30-second interval breakdown. Go. Let's start with you. What do you think so far?
It's high energy. The songs are thumping, like it's really loud. There's some really good arrangements and orchestrations. How much do I care about the story? I mean, the story is moving, so that's it. But I'm
moving
enjoying
as in it's fast-paced, not as in you're feeling it, like heartfelt, right?
What about you?
I would say I've never been so torn come the interval of a show. At moments I'm a 1, I'm like, what is this absolute tripe? And then suddenly I'm a 5 and thinking, this is brilliant. What's standing out is Arlene's choreography, which is magnificent.
Fellow leggers, we've come to the end of What's New Pussycat? Whoa, 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 pun. Give us a pun.
Well, was it Pussycat, Pussycat, I Love You, or has the whole thing gone to the dogs? That's what we need to know.
Nice.
See what I did there? I've been working on that, the whole thing.
In
fact, I couldn't concentrate in Act 2 because I was more worried about the bunnage.
Rate the pun. I don't know what the pun should be. 1 out of 10. Give us a 10.
1 out of 5. We rated 5.
Okay, 5. 1 out of 5. How many stars would you give the pun?
For that one.
Anyway, so What's New Pussycat? I went first during the interval breakdown, so I'm keen to know what you thought, because you're a bit, here, there, sometimes here, sometimes there, so where are we at?
I was like a cat on the fence.
Oh, so you did that.
See what I'm doing? Guys, I'm the gift that keeps on giving.
Were you actually, or did you just want to get out another pun?
No, I was really genuinely on the fence, because there are more, now we've come to the end of it, there are more elements of it that I loved than hated, but there are certain things which I do take a little bit of an issue with. But do you know why I take an issue with them? Because I'm overthinking it, guys. This is not Chaucer. This is not Shakespeare.
Chekhov.
This is not Chekhov.
It's not that deep.
This is not even like
Jersey Boys.
This is Rock of Ages for the 60s, like just in that era. Whereas Rock of Ages is 80s music, pumping rock. This is, let's get a song in, let's string it together with a really thin plot based on a book which no one's read. Who's read that? No one's read it, right? But let's have a bloody good time with it. And ultimately, if you can come in knowing that it ain't got no point, ultimately, just have a drink and let yourself go. You'll have a really good time, because I did that by the end, but it took me a long time to get there. What did you think?
I really enjoyed it. It was really fun. I wasn't too sure come the middle. I was on board. It was energetic. There's so much fun. There's so much. The music is pumping. I mean, if you think of the music of Tom Jones and him as a character, you know, he's not laid back. He's not a general. He's out there. He's in there.
He's a showman.
And as such, the orchestrations, the music, the vibrancy, all of that reflects the drive of the piece. So I think it works really well. And it's fun. It's campy. It's all those things. All the moments come the end in terms of the plot points landed. Simple narrative. Boy meets girl. I can't get the girl.
There's no new ground here.
There's
nothing
nothing
no
new.
new ground.
The only
here,
difference
right?
is the music, the theming, the colour, all of that stuff.
And the songs, I'm not going to lie, are shoehorned in, because you can't get Thunderball into a narrative. You just can't without literally lubing it up, right, and sticking it in. And they're just bold with that.
They know what it is.
Yeah,
they know what the piece is. So they kind of make fun of that. And I think that's
lubed up my Thunderballs.
And when you say that it knows itself, it does know itself, and it knows it's fun, and it's taken the mickey out of itself. Some of the characters are so ludicrous. Some of the kind of, not ensemble characters as such, but semi-featured characters have so much fun with what they are doing, because they know it is just campy. I think you'll have a really good time.
Yeah.
In terms of the piece?
Yeah, you will have a good time in terms of the piece. In terms of, and I've got to say, the fact that this has come out of the pen of the guy that wrote Memphis, which has got such heart, such story, such political and racial undertones, it's a complete diversion away from Joe's typical work as far as we know it, because Memphis, it ain't. But fun it is. I would say in terms of production, though, this is classic Luke Sheppard.
In what way, Lady Simon?
In the way that it's costume, it's old meets new.
So you're thinking Anne Juliet
It's very Anne Juliet. It is that sort of ye oldie fashion style. It's this, let's step into the 21st century here, guys. Let's leave the ways of the past pre-60s behind, where we were stuffy and things were done for us and women knew their place. And let's break out and have this sexual liberation. Let's embrace our individuality. That was the turning point for this country, the 1960s, where suddenly love was free and love was everywhere, and love had no rules. Unfortunately, neither did fashion, and there's some right corkers in terms of costume.
So, and you're saying all that is typical Luke in terms of direction?
I think it's typical Luke as in an awareness of the period in which he's setting something. So, for example, Anne Juliet, there's a real nod to that Elizabethan style, but with how do we make this relevant to now, to the modern era, and to take a story like that and to show it and display it in terms of costume, set, sounds and lighting. Luke knows what to do.
Okay. I thought production-wise it was great. I love the lighting. We just talked about the lighting, embedded lighting everywhere. They had really nice lighting arcs in terms of the set. It's almost like an archway coming forwards, and there's these beautiful lighting archways as well that dropped down as well, which I've not seen before. I thought that was a really nice touch, combination of set and lighting
Howard
together.
Hudson on lighting, who also did Adrian Mole, 9 to 5. He clearly works very well.
So
and very
many
closely
lights
with
as
Luke.
well. You've got to think with this, it's that kind of concert. At times it felt like a concert. The sound is concert, and they had the big lights amplifying that.
And
so great.
set designer John Bowser, who did what I would argue was probably the best thing about Bat Out of Hell. He did the set for that.
No way.
Which was, to be honest, probably the best thing about a show I didn't really enjoy. The set was sensational.
Yeah.
It's not quite the same on tour. It lacks a little bit, but anyway.
But fantastic set, really nice lighting. The songs are great. I loved as well in terms of the band. They pumped the sound out nice and loud. They haven't scrimped on any speakers.
There's not many of them though in the band.
And what I loved as well is that you have the 3 brass, because it's all about the brass with the Tom Jones classic hits coming out front. You had like a trombone, a saxophone and a trumpet.
And at one point, a very sexy guy on sticks.
Oh, the drummer as well. We got to see the percussionist as well coming out playing the drum.
Very handsome guy.
Liked him.
I liked him a lot.
So that was great to see.
Absolutely
Anything
great
else?
to
Oh,
see.
choreography.
Now let's start. Break a Legger's Award nomination for Arlene Phillips, Best Choreography in a Musical. Arlene Phillips, it gave me all of those Pans People vibes. It gave me all of that sort of 70s coming out of the 60s, sharp and angular. She is still a sensation. She's bloody experienced is what she is, and nobody knows this era better than Arlene.
I've always loved Arlene Phillips ever since Saturday Night Fever, and that was some of the best 70s choreography and movement I've seen. This is energetic. There's so many elements going on. You have these three kind of core singers who are always moving. You've got the ensemble as well who are doing acrobatics. The whole thing is moving and it's sassy, and I think you're right. It's the right person for the job. There's no one that knows this better and can bring that movement. It's so high energy, like it's
really
a workout.
She does not, especially the male ensemble. She gives them no time to breathe. She wants to taste the sweat off their foreheads.
They are, because they're working. The whole ensemble, the whole cast are working their backsides off.
But we need to apologise.
We need to apologise.
Dame Arlene Phillips.
Dame Arlene Phillips,
Mustn't
DBE.
forget the Dame.
Isn't it something? There is something at the
That's
end
what,
of the
that's
name.
what you get a
Is that
DBE
what
if
it
you're a
is?
Dame, don't you?
Okay.
Dame Arlene Phillips.
Dame Arlene Phillips.
Well done, Harry. You're wonderful. Love you.
That was just Harry there. Should we talk about Harry while he's
Let's
there?
talk about Harry Kershaw in the role of William Blifil. I don't know where Harry's personality ends and his character starts.
He's just really well suited to this. He's
really
perfectly
is.
cast. Like, he's one of those people, as soon as he walked in for an audition, you would have gone, that's the character
That's the
right
one.
there. He's not even trying.
Do you know what? I'd write it around him.
Yeah,
I literally would. I'd just write it around him.
So as such, he's a joy to watch.
Yep.
And he is the character.
Yep.
Of this
Bumbling, awkward, tough is what he is, and he plays that so bloody
really fun.
well. If you need a tough, call Harry is what I would say.
Let's also talk
Rebecca
about
Hines in the role of the girl in the polka dot dress, whose
love what
name
she was
we
doing.
never find out till the end.
Yes.
I've got to say, she gave me. Now, where do we know her from?
We know her from somewhere. We've been
It's
racking our
driving us up
brains,
mad.
but we can't think of
But
it.
she would
We'll have
make
to put
a
it in
great
the
Nancy.
description one day. Do you reckon?
I wanna see her do
she
Nancy.
She'll do loads of parts. She's that comedy role.
But
It's
comedy,
really,
but
earthy
grounded.
as well. I was going to say earthy, grounded, not up there. Just really.
Earthy comedy is what I
Stable.
would say. Let's talk about Ashley Campbell in the role of Mr. Partridge.
He's a man of many talents, isn't he? A bit of tap, a bit of dancing out there. Now he's worked doing the Rat Pack, I can see. So he got some tap in there as well, as some fantastic vocal, lovely comedy timing as well. I loved what he did.
Loved Ashley, loved his stature. This man has got a credit list as long as your arm, but he still looks 30. He's keeping himself so fit because he's clearly a man who's passionate about his craft and keeps up the bloody hard work. And it was a joy to watch him tonight.
It was.
Let's talk about, I really want to give a shout out to Naomi Catillo in an ensemble
You liked
role.
her a lot, right?
Okay, guys, right. We see a lot of theatre.
We do see a lot of theatre.
I tend to sort of know how to pick them.
You spot them. You're like, that's the one that's going to go places.
That's the one that's going to
the one that's
go
going to work, and we're
places.
going to see again and again and again.
Now, Naomi Catillo, she's got a she's trained at Erdang, but she's got very few theatre credits to her name at the moment. She's going to be the next big thing, guys. She is a future Six Queen. She's a future Effie in Dreamgirls. She's a future leading lady, and I will put my money on it right now. Best Actress in an Ensemble Role, Break a Legger's nomination for Naomi Catillo. And if we don't see her leading a West End show in the next 5 years, I will eat my hat.
Okay,
I'll
there
eat
we
my
go.
What's New Pussycat.
Okay, there
See
we
what I did
go.
there? See what I did
It's
there?
fantastic there. I
Great.
really liked Kelly Price as well. Some fantastic vocals, some lovely stature.
Playing Lady Bellaston. She is sort
Yeah,
of
I
like
really liked it.
the love rival in this, is what I would
Yes,
say.
some
The
nice-
older lady in it for herself.
Some lovely tone in terms of her vocals. I think that's what's nice. We get used to hearing Tom Jones singing these songs, but having different voices, different arrangements just makes the songs pop and makes them different. And she made some of the numbers pop, which is great.
Let's move on to the leads now. Let's talk about Dominic Anderson in the role of Tom Jones. Not the Tom Jones from the novel, but singing the Tom Jones of the Tom Jones that we know.
Yes, he's a good-looking lad,
He's a
isn't
man
he?
idol,
He's got
isn't he?
some
He
talent
is
as well.
giving me Jamie Moscato. Whew, he really is.
Yeah, and he gets to get most of his kit off as well,
He
so
does.
the whole audience is like, whoa! it's electric
That chest
at times.
is waxed.
They know how to get the audience on board, and the audience was on board through everything he was doing. We're on board with his narrative, so that's great.
And he has got great tone. He's got this real richness to his voice, which you have to have if you're singing Tom Jones's number, because if there's one thing we know about him, it's in Tom Jones, it's that sort of almost rich cup of coffee voice.
And which you have to have if you're the leading man in a show like this. You've got to be able to drive it.
And last but by no means least, Bronte Barbie in the role of Mary Weston, who is really Mary Austin because she's the inventor of the miniskirt. That's a side. You'll see that when you come to see it. I would say we've seen Bronte before, right? We've enjoyed Bronte's work. Right back since her Dorothy days in Over the Rainbow. She was one to watch on that show. But she's come on leaps and bounds since then, even since we saw her in Beautiful. I think because we were front row tonight, I really appreciated her craft, the control that she has in her voice, and the stamina of those vocals lead me to think it's a Break a Leggers nomination.
Well, there we go. Break a Leggers nomination, Best Leading Actress in a Musical. I'm going to say I absolutely agree. I think she's always been great, but what's great about this piece is it really exposes her.
Yeah.
She gets some big, powerful numbers, and she gets some big, powerful endings with these
money
long,
notes.
sustained notes, absolutely. And you are just like, you're in awe of her control, her talent, her tone. Just like, yes.
In awe. And the thing is, what impressed me the most, right, was almost when she finished a note, I almost felt like she could have carried on. Like it, almost her control, right? Honestly, she's got a never-ending supply of air. I don't know where she's sucking it from, but she's sucking it.
So and the whole ensemble was great as well. I want to say a Break a Leggers nomination as well for the ensemble guy who sang Delilah.
Yes,
because
featured ensemble, very much featured ensemble,
pumping it up throughout, owning the moments as well.
That's
real
Lemuel Knights in the role of Big Mickey and General Ensemble. He has more to do than anybody possibly.
Break a Leggers nomination. I thought that he was really fun.
He was a finalist on The Voice where he worked with Tom Jones. So, I mean,
there we go.
You don't need if you've had Tom Jones as a mentor, you deserve to be in the show.
But it wasn't just The Voice as well. It was his commitment to almost having fun, and I think that suited this piece.
We saw him in Billionaire Boy.
Do you know what? Now you mention it, I do remember that.
The Bob Marley musical, Here One Love. We saw him in that too. I would say when I was watching him, who is the character? Who is the bad guy in Oklahoma?
Oh, Judd.
He'd be a perfect Judd.
Yeah, I know.
I was watching him and I was like, this is Judd. Cast Oklahoma, revival. He's your Judd, guys. Don't look any further. Right, we've gone on.
We've gone on for loads of time. You're probably wondering how many stars we are going to give. What's New Pussycat, which is currently here at the Birmingham Rep, but is going on a tour.
Who knows?
Who knows what's going to happen?
It'll have a further life. And you know what? It'll sell well in amateur theatre.
I hope it goes places. So we'll see what happens.
Anyway,
we are
what's
going to
New
give.
Pussycat? We're going to give 4
stars for this piece.
Yeah. Do you know what? The plot is paper thin, and it doesn't have the heart that and Juliet has for me. It doesn't have that sort of real, like and Juliet when with May's story and that sort of longing and trying to find yourself and the dagger through the heart that it is, doesn't have that hook for me, but what it is still is bloody great fun.
Yeah, it's pumping, it's fast, it's energetic. If you know the songs, you're going to have nothing but a good time. The audience was alive this evening. It'd be interesting to know what it's like with other
Saturday night,
audiences.
drunk Saturday night.
Absolutely.
You think I'll kill you?
But I think it will. I think it will generate just that come the end of the show, that whoa! And there are those moments that land. It's the plot we've seen before, but it has the moments that land. We know where it's coming, but it takes us with it. I thought it was great fun. Great fun.
Get your tickets for What's New Pussycat here at the Birmingham Rep if you want, because that's just what I think.
Totally just what I think.
But what do you think? Have you seen the show? And if not, why not? Let us know down below. We love to hear your thoughts. Please like and subscribe because we're the Break a Leggers.
And we'll catch you again soon.
Bye.